Hello, welcome to Tools for Bullying and Abuse Prevention. I'm Stacy Pendarvis, the Education and Research Director at the Monique Burr Foundation for Children. The Monique Burr Foundation for Children was founded in 1997 by Edward Burr to honor his late wife Monique Burr and her work with abused children. He wanted to provide a legacy for her and to honor and continue her work. The foundation has, in the past, provided a variety of advocacy work and prevention programs, most notably the Good Touch, Bad Touch program. But we now focus solely on primary prevention. In 2009, our executive director, Lynn Layton, joined the Cooperative Planning Team in Florida, and they created the Speak Up, Be Safe program in cooperation with Child Help and Arizona State University. They piloted the program in the 2009-2010 school year, fully launched the program the next school year, and our vision is to provide Speak Up, Be Safe to every elementary school student in the state of Florida. So what are the dangers facing kids today, and why should schools care? We know child abuse and bullying have reached epidemic proportions in our country, and schools need to be aware. Even if it's not seen at schools, bullying and child abuse impact the school environment. Bullying was once thought of as harmless behavior between children, but it is now known to have dangerous and lasting effects. 13 million students will be bullied in the United States this year. 160,000 students stay home from school each day because they're afraid of being bullied. 1 million children were cyberbullied on Facebook during the past year. And 43% of teens ages 13 to 17 have experienced cyberbullying in the past year. So we know bullying and cyberbullying are huge problems for kids these days. Digital abuse is a broad term encompassing internet dangers as well as the dangers from cell phones, online gaming, virtual reality sites, etc. And these statistics are equally as alarming. Over half of all youth and teens have experienced some sort of cyberbullying. Approximately 20% of teens are sexting. Every day, 77 million children use the internet, and of children ages 10 to 17, 1 out of every 7 will be sexually solicited online. Nearly 80% of unwanted exposure to pornography is taking place in the home. And Florida ranks 4th in the nation for the volume of child pornography produced. So when we're talking about digital abuse, what we need to understand is that kids need to be aware of the dangers online and using cell phones and technology, not only from their peers, but predators and peers alike. And then let's talk finally about some statistics regarding child abuse. Child abuse rates in our country are very high. The United States has 3.2 million reports of abused or neglected children each year, and that's just the number reported. Florida is high in our rates as well. The rate of child fatalities due to abuse or neglect in Florida is more than double the national rate, and Florida ranked 4th in the nation in 2009 for confirmed cases of child maltreatment. We consistently rank about 4th in the nation for cases of abuse and neglect. And child-on-child sexual abuse in Florida is a prevalent and growing problem, as it is in the nation. So with numbers that high, we have to ask who is impacted by the abuse, who are the victims. And if you look at the chart and the ages that are represented on the chart, and half of the victims that we see here are ages 4 to 11. So that represents our elementary school age population, and that is why our program Speak Up, Be Safe target age range, because if we can offer them a prevention program and teach them strategies to identify unsafe situations and use rules to protect themselves or help the adults in their lives protect them, then we're ahead of the game with prevention or primary prevention. And who are perpetrators? Perpetrators are often known to the children or to the victim, and they often want to work where there are lots of children so they have easy access to a large pool of victims. And talking about places like schools and youth serving organizations. So what does the research say about how bullying and child abuse impact the learning environment? Even if we don't see bullying and child abuse occur on school grounds, it has been known to cause decreased test scores, lower grade point averages, poor peer relations, an increase in school violence, poor overall school climate. And we know that with prevention education, we can see a reverse in the trends of all of those things. So what are the tools and strategies that can help schools? Obviously, we want to talk about primary prevention first. And we talked about where do predators want to work, and they want to work with in schools and with youth serving organizations. So simple policies are a good place to start. And a policy such as eliminating or minimizing one adult to one child situations is a great place to start. And there's a good resource that the Centers for Disease Control has put out called Preventing Child Sexual Abuse Within Youth Serving Organizations, and it applies to schools as well. There's an entire guide on setting policies and procedures, and that's obviously a great place to start. And then, of course, the best resource for primary prevention is a prevention training program like our curriculum that we offer through the Monique Burr Foundation for Children called Speak Up, Be Safe. Speak Up, Be Safe is a national research-based prevention program that educates and empowers children and adults with information and strategies to prevent bullying, digital abuse, and all types of child abuse and exploitation. Speak Up, Be Safe was developed in partnership with the Monique Burr Foundation, Child Help, and Arizona State University. And the Monique Burr Foundation for Children owns the license to distribute in Florida. Speak Up, Be Safe, and you'll often hear us refer to it as SUBS, is a comprehensive, developmentally, and culturally appropriate program. It meets the requirements of Florida Statute 39 to provide a school-based prevention program, meets over 90 Florida Next Generation Sunshine State standards, and this summer will be aligned with Common Core standards, and it meets the requirements of the Jeffrey Johnston for All Students Act. The program is provided free to all Florida public elementary schools. It includes curriculum materials, a webinar or live facilitator training, and all program support. The program is delivered to students in 2 sessions in the classroom by certified facilitators, usually school counselors, after attending our facilitator training. The training includes curriculum information, facilitation guidelines, and topic knowledge on bullying, digital abuse, child abuse, and exploitation, and Florida's mandatory reporting law. To date, we have trained over 600 facilitators and over 250,000 students, and we anticipate training over 400,000 students this school year. This is an outline of the public school curriculum for 1st through 5th grade students. It is a very engaging curriculum, has a lot of activities, and a lot of take-home materials. It's a fun and empowering program. If you would like to see a larger version of this curriculum details handout, you can click on the link below the video on our website and download a copy. The facilitator training that trains either a counselor in a school or can train teachers in a school to provide the curriculum to students is available in either a webinar or live version. The webinar is typically 1.5 hours, while the live version is about 3 hours, and both depend really on the amount of discussion. The agenda includes the curriculum details and materials. We cover the processes and expectations of our facilitators. We also cover facilitator best practices. And then we talk about the mandatory reporting law in Florida, including the indicators and disclosures and how you know to report. And then the last thing we cover in the training is topic information: bullying, cyberbullying, digital abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, neglect, and also sexual abuse and exploitation. We like our facilitators to feel like they're knowledgeable in the content information so that they can adequately teach the children about the material. So we've talked about primary prevention, but there's also secondary prevention, or preventing abuse after it has occurred. Reporting abuse is actually a means of secondary prevention. And in Florida, there were updates to the mandatory reporting law in October of last year that impact all schools and school staff. So let's talk about the new law updates and how it impacts your staff and your school. Mandatory reporters in Florida now consist of any person who knows or has reasonable cause to suspect that a child is abused, abandoned, or neglected. In fact, every citizen in Florida is now a mandatory reporter. And we must report abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, and neglect by any adult, both parents and non-parents, to the Department of Children and Families. This is a change in the law. We previously, if we reported, only had to report parents. Now we have to non-parents as well. It also requires reporting to DCF on juvenile sex offenders. That's also a change in the law. And there's a list in Florida of mandatory reporters that must disclose their names, and that includes school teachers and other school officials or personnel. Here are the various ways you can report suspected child abuse and neglect to the Department of Children and Families. Remember, you do not need proof that abuse is occurring. Just report your suspicions and let DCF do the investigation. And I'd like to tell you about another reporting resource that's available. It was written by the Mandatory Reporting Law Updates, called the Schools Professional Development Act. It's available on the Department of Children and Families Child Welfare page, and it's a 1-hour training for school personnel on recognizing and reporting. We also have additional resources on the Monique Burr Foundation's website geared towards schools, including things such as a mandatory reporting handout and an Indicators of Abuse Quick Guidelines grid. We have information PowerPoints that our trained facilitators can use to offer information to their staff at the school or to parents as well. Lastly, we have a Speak Up, Be Safe Florida blog. We write posts about all kinds of safety topics that are great for not only facilitators and teachers in the school, but it's a great way to share safety information with parents as well. You can link to it on your website and provide information. If you send home a newsletter, you can provide information from our blog to your parents that way as well. We would like to thank you for watching and learning more about tools and resources to prevent bullying and child abuse. Please know we are here to help you, and thank you for being proactive about protecting children.